so easy to cook. So easy to cook. I ended up getting keto flu.
Moto Marie on the vibe today. Carnivore life carving my way. Fitness, grind, wellness on replay. Leveling up every single day.
Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. I'm Moto Marie, but of course you could just call me Marie. And as you can see from the title, today we're going to be talking about the carnivore diet. We're going to get into why I chose to do it, what it is, and how it's been over the last 45 days. Now, if you are subscribed, and hopefully you are or will choose to do so, you know that I am also doing the 75 hard challenge. Yes, so I am a crazy person and I decided to do the 75 hard challenge in addition to completely changing my very standard American diet. And to be honest with you, it was even worse than what is typical for the standard American diet. It was pretty bad. And switch over to doing 2 workouts a day, no drinking, and incorporating the carnivore diet. So if you want to see what the past 45 days have been like and to know a little bit more about the carnivore diet and what my experience have been, then just keep on watching. All right, so what is the carnivore diet? The carnivore diet primarily consists of meat, fish, eggs, and some dairy. It generally consists of 0 to minimal carbs. And normally there are no plant foods, so no fruit, no vegetables, also no processed foods in that version of the diet. So I know I lost a couple of you because that sounds really restrictive, but just like there are vegetarians and vegans, there are different variations of the carnivore diet. So let's talk about those, and maybe one of the other ones will be a little more appealing to you. So strict carnivore is meat, water, salt. So while this is the most restrictive, this is the best choice that you want to give a try for at least a couple of weeks, if not a full 30 days, just because it is the best elimination diet on the planet. So most people that choose that have autoimmune issues, chronic inflammation, joint pain, skin issues like eczema or psoriasis. So if you wanted to try to give your body a break from having all of that chronic inflammation and just autoimmune responses, that would be the best diet to choose. Another choice is the carnivore diet. So everything I just talked about, in addition, you can have eggs and dairy. So a lot of people choose to include, especially cheese, eggs, if you're lucky enough to tolerate it. Let me know if anybody else has a problem with eggs, especially if it's newer, because I used to be able to eat eggs all the time and now I can't. And I really miss having 3 eggs and half a cup of cottage cheese. My favorite, but I can't have that anymore. So if you're lucky to have eggs and dairy in your diet, then maybe this might be the choice for you. The next one is definitely a broader, less restrictive version, and it is the animal-based carnivore diet. So this one includes minimal plant foods. So you can have, most people choose fruit over vegetables, but you can also have honey as well as spices. Because remember, in the strictest carnivore diet, you get rid of pepper and just any other spices. You only use salt. So in this one, you can add back in your salts, your spices, which is, like I said, this is the most broad. But I would encourage you, once you kind of get into the groove of being a carnivore, that you give the strict carnivore a try just to see how you feel, and then start to add those other things back in to see if you respond any differently to them. So let's talk about why I chose to do the carnivore diet. A lot of people you see on social media are just giving it a try because, for one, it's popular, and of course it sounds interesting. Like, you tell people that you get to eat bacon, steak, eggs, and you're still going to lose weight. Why not give it a try? Unfortunately, that was not what piqued my interest. So I am a person that suffers from autoimmune issues, chronic inflammation, gut problems, just overall, from top to bottom, rooted to the tutor, autoimmune problems. So for me, I gave this diet a shot, and a lot of people give this diet a shot out of pure desperation and the need for change. I needed something to be different. And once I started to dig into the research and hear other people's story, that's when I decided to give this a try. Over the years, I've done elimination diets, but what do they tell you that is normally the healthiest thing that you always want to keep in a diet? Well, whole foods, all whole foods, whether they're grains, fruits, vegetables, they normally keep those things in elimination diets. They have you get rid of the excess sugar, sometimes the caffeine. They normally minimalize the protein and up the fruits and vegetables and starches and grains. Unfortunately, those made my inflammation problems a lot worse, and I would always end with those being in a lot of pain, a lot of like joint pain. Unfortunately, what is good for the goose is not good for the gander. Everybody's body is different. Now I understand that, well, whatever is wrong with my diet, fiber does not help. Adding in fiber generally makes it a lot worse. So when I started looking into this diet and I realized that this would really and truly give my body a reset so I can figure out what is bothering me, I kind of jumped right into it. Unfortunately for me, I chose to do it while doing the 75 hard challenge. And if you found this video because of the carnivore content and you don't know what the 75 hard challenge is, very briefly, and the only parts that you need to know about that is you have to choose a diet and follow it. And my diet, of course, is the carnivore diet, but you also have to do 2 45-minute workouts every day for 75 days, no rest days. So I would definitely say that is not the ideal situation, not the best idea, but I'm kind of an extreme person. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but if anything, I at least have a story to tell. So let's talk about what I eat. So we'll talk about what I eat in a day and as well as what a normal grocery store trip looks like for me. I go to Costco once a month, buy a lot of meat in bulk, but I'll show you in this clip here what that grocery haul looked like. All right, guys, so I just did a Sunday run to Costco to get, this should honestly be like a month's worth of groceries and you won't believe how much it costs. But first, let's go over what we got. So, got a 3-pack of organic wings. I actually do prefer the non-organic because there are already no antibiotics, not GMO, but they ran out. So otherwise, this would be a 6-pack for basically the same price. This was like 20 bucks. So we normally smoke those or we put them in the air fryer. And then of course, what is a carnivore diet without a good old-fashioned ribeye? And I don't know if you can see all that marbling in there, but I'm really excited for this one. So I normally buy it in a roast form. That way I can cut it to the size that I want. And I feel like it holds the flavor a lot better than the ones that come pre-cut. Could just be me, but I feel like I taste the difference. And maybe it's a little bit cheaper, maybe it's not, but that's probably the most expensive thing that I get on a monthly basis is the ribeye roast. So that was almost $100, so $95 for that. Then this I did not have to buy organic, so it comes in a 6-pack. These are the drumsticks. We definitely enjoy smoking these. So at least a couple times during the month, we will smoke a lot of this chicken. We'll smoke the wings, some of these, as well as the thighs. And again, thighs, I don't know why they do that with the wings sometimes. The wings, they run out of regular, so I have to buy organic. But these come in the 6-pack, and I got chicken thighs with the skin on. Definitely don't want skinless, boneless, so those are bone-in, skin-on thighs. And those are about $20. So the drumsticks are the cheapest. When I used to not eat drumsticks, but when I started the carnivore diet, I started to eat these and I realized how inexpensive they are. I mean, I get it's not a ton of meat compared to the rest, but I mean, only $9 for the 6-pack is awesome. I see a lot of other carnivores cook with pork belly. So I have never cooked it, at least not successfully. So I saw this and I want to try it again. But yeah, so I'm excited. Look how thick that is. It's already sliced, so I don't have to worry about that. So it's pre-cut, which is great. I just need to figure out the best way to cook this. I know it's really good with Brussels sprouts, but otherwise to just like bake it, do you have to add, I'm thinking of salt pork where you have to boil it and do all this other stuff. I'm not sure if that's the same for pork belly, but I'll figure it out and I'll let you know how it comes out. And then considering we got the rest of that meat, we probably didn't need this. All right, so this we probably didn't need on top of everything else, but I saw it and I thought we would grab it, just throw it in the freezer in case we want it. So occasionally we will do this chuck pot roast in the slow cooker, and it comes out really good. The texture, we pull it apart basically, so it just gives a different texture than cutting into a steak or chewing on chicken. So just occasionally I like to have this. The flavor comes out really good the way it gets made. And yeah, so all of that. We got some wings because we haven't eaten lunch today and it's almost 2 o'clock. So just pre-made wings because I didn't want to be starving when I got home, and then of course that would make me eat a bunch of junk. So all of that for less than $300 at Costco. I feel like we did a really good job, and I know some people think that eating on a carnivore diet, because you're including meat, which is normally the most expensive part of your meal, but you have to remember that you're not getting any of the rest of the stuff. So you're not getting a vegetable, a starch on top of that. For me anyway, I'm the only one that's doing like a pure carnivore diet, but that's all I have to get, and it'll, like I said, probably last at least 3 weeks to a month. Definitely not longer. Some of this, like the pork belly and maybe a couple bags of the chicken, will be left over till next month, but this will take care of everything and under $300. So I'm super happy about that. But now I am starving, so let me add some salt to those wings because they never add enough, and maybe throw them in the air fryer to get them crispy because they don't look crispy at all, and eat. All right, talk to you soon. Now, as you can see, I bought a lot of meat that day, and like I said, that for the most part will feed 2 people for a full month. What you don't see in that video are other things that I don't get from Costco. I don't get my salmon from there. I don't get any shrimp from there. I don't get that at Costco. I get that from Jewel. So I might make 1 or 2 smaller trips to Jewel to get things like that, but that's generally what a month of food looks like. All right, on to the pros and cons. So this is a list from me, having been doing this diet over the past 45 days as a beginner, diving in. So I started out as strict carnivore. So meat, salt, water is all I did for the first few weeks, which again, crazy, because the day before I was eating massive amount of carbs. Don't do what I did. So let's get into the cons for me and my situation. The cons are obviously going from such a big jump and having a standard American diet to having absolutely 0 carbs. I ended up getting keto flu. It lasted for about a week. So keto flu is when your body is releasing a lot of water, and with that, minerals. So I ended up having a cold, flu-like symptoms, extra fatigue on top of the fatigue of my body not having carbs to burn as well. That is a me thing. You can start to take away calories or sugary drinks first, then start to remove your carbs, your pastas, your breads, and ease your way into the carnivore diet. That would be a much smarter way. But again, I was more extreme, and I kind of knew it was going to happen. I've been taking electrolytes to help with that. So was not the most severe case. It did last a week, and it made me fatigued, which wouldn't have been as much of a problem if I was not doing the 75 hard challenge. Second con. The second con is, and I'm going to list this as a pro and a con, it takes away your joy of eating out. And what I mean by that is I could totally go out for dinner and choose to only eat meat on my plate, but I make my food, my meat, better than any restaurant. Like after 4 weeks of cooking a steak, either grilling it outside, sous videing it, broiling it, I'd much rather have a steak at home. So me and my partner generally look at each other like, oh, it's Friday, you want to go out? I was like, no. I want you to make your salmon because your salmon is better than everybody else's. And I think that is also because I'm not drinking. So normally if I go out, I would normally have a cocktail. Well, I'm not gonna have a cocktail. So why am I going out to get mid-level food when I can have high-level food at home for a lot less money? But to be more serious, the cons are that transition portion of your body burning carbs to fats. Just be prepared for it. That is something I think most people will experience. Not necessarily keto flu, but a little bit of a wave as far as your energy levels. As of right now, I'm well into week 6 and I don't have an issue. I am going to start doing more of an animal-based carnivore diet now that I've done the strict carnivore diet and started to add different things in. I know berries don't give me inflammation. I know honey doesn't give me inflammation. So I'm going to start to use those things strategically around workouts so I can have better workouts, get a lot stronger in the gym because I am resistance training. So that's what I'm going to be doing going forward. Now, pros. Pros are so easy to cook. So easy to cook. The decision-making process, what is it? You want steak? You want chicken? You want pork? You want lamb? That's all you have to decide. I don't have to decide to have, okay, well, on the side, we need to have asparagus with a little au gratin potato. No, one decision. One decision. Keep it simple in the beginning. Don't start making carnivore pancakes, carnivore bread. Just eat your meat. Another pro is kind of what I mentioned before. I am saving a lot, and I mean a lot of money, both on not drinking. While I don't think that has to be a requirement of the carnivore diet, it is a requirement of the 75 hard. So I am not going out to dinner, so I am not buying drinks, I am not buying dinner. I am saving a ton of money. I will gladly go and spend $100 every couple of weeks to buy a ribeye roast and buy a bunch of chicken and stuff to have here in the house. But when I say a lot of money, I want to say probably about $500 a month, just going to the grocery store and eating at home. The last pro that I want to bring up is while I did go through the phases of being fatigued, frustrated, cravings, headaches, I will say it's given me hope because I have not had any joint pain. I have not had any chronic inflammation. Just 45 days, and actually that all was within 30 days. I have dramatically improved my health and I can feel it. I can feel the change. So I'm excited to keep going with this. You'll definitely have to subscribe and tune in to see if I continue this after I finish the 75 hard challenge and to see what the next 45 days is gonna look like, because I'm definitely gonna do an update around day 9.
Moto Marie on the vibe today. Carnivore life carving